Hi everyone. Imagine holding in your hand what looks like just an ordinary penny, the kind of coin that might slip unnoticed into your pocket change, yet beneath its coppery surface lies a story so incredible that it has sent ripples of excitement through coin collectors, treasure hunters, and history enthusiasts worldwide. Because the 1993 USA 1-cent coin has been rumored to carry a staggering face value of $13 million, a figure that sounds almost unbelievable for a coin most people would overlook, and today we are diving deep into the fascinating history, the errors, the minting anomalies, and the unique characteristics that make this coin not just a simple piece of change but an artifact of immense historical and financial value. So welcome and get ready to discover a story that merges the world of numismatics with mystery, chance, and fortune in ways you never imagined, because this penny isn't just worth 1 cent. It could be the key to unimaginable wealth, and to understand why the 1993 penny has achieved such legendary status, we first have to go back to the US minting process in the early 1990s, a time when millions of coins were struck each year at facilities like Denver, Philadelphia, and San Francisco, with Denver, marked with its famous D mint mark, being responsible for producing an immense number of coins that circulated all across America. But within this flood of everyday currency, sometimes anomalies crept in: minting mistakes, misstrikes, die cracks, doubled dies, off-center strikes, or planchet errors, and when these errors occurred, they transformed what should have been ordinary coins into rare treasures that collectors would later fight over. And this is exactly where the 1993 1-cent coin begins to stand out, for while billions of pennies from the 1990s can be found in circulation, only a very select few show the signs of dramatic errors that dramatically multiply their value, and some of these particular 1993 coins have been linked with major doubling on Lincoln's portrait, distortions in the lettering of "In God We Trust," shifting or misaligned mint marks, and even striking on wrong planchets that can give the coin an entirely different weight and metallic composition. And when even a minor error can take a penny from being worth a few cents to being valued at hundreds or thousands of dollars, the thought of dramatic minting mistakes combined with rarity explains why collectors have pushed the idea that this particular coin could command such astronomical sums, because it's not just about owning a coin, it's about owning a piece of history, a fluke of craftsmanship that slipped through the rigid systems of the mint and became an unintentional masterpiece. And beyond the errors themselves, we also have to look at the condition of surviving coins, because in numismatics condition is everything. And if a 1993 penny were discovered in pristine mint state condition, untouched by circulation, its sharp details, luster, and brilliance could multiply its value exponentially, especially when authenticated by top grading companies who assign it the coveted MS67, MS68, or even higher grades that few coins ever achieve. And within this world of grading and rarity lies the foundation for the breathtaking valuation that has been attached to the 1993 penny. For in auctions, rare coins with extraordinary features often spark bidding wars that send prices skyrocketing far beyond what anyone could have imagined. And one of the most intriguing possibilities linked to this coin is the speculation that some may have been struck on experimental planchets as the US Mint was constantly adjusting and perfecting metal compositions in the 1980s and 1990s, and if a coin originally intended as a test piece accidentally entered circulation, its uniqueness could be unparalleled, making it a one-of-a-kind collectible worth millions. And stories like these fuel the dreams of everyday people searching their pocket change. Because who wouldn't want to stumble across a coin worth $13 million just sitting at the bottom of a coin jar? And when we think about the psychology of rarity and desire, it becomes clear why coins like this one capture such global attention, because they represent the idea that unimaginable fortune can be hiding in plain sight, that treasure doesn't always lie buried underground or locked away in vaults. Sometimes it jingles casually in your pocket, and when looking deeper into the design of the 1993 penny, we find Abraham Lincoln's profile, a design that has graced the cent since 1909, and the reverse featuring the Lincoln Memorial. And while these designs themselves are familiar, subtle variations caused by die wear, polishing, and misalignments create anomalies that, when combined with the D mint mark, give specific coins their unique identities. And collectors worldwide scour every tiny detail, every crack in the die, every doubling in the letters, because these small imperfections can mean the difference between an ordinary penny and a multi-million-dollar treasure. And when one considers how few such error coins are believed to exist, and how tightly collectors guard them, it's no wonder the value attached to them climbs to surreal levels. And beyond the errors and condition, there is also the cultural and historical narrative to consider, because the early 1990s marked a period of transition in American coinage, with debates about the cost of producing pennies, rising copper prices, and changing minting technologies all playing roles. And coins like the 1993 serve as snapshots of that era, physical relics that connect us to the economic and industrial realities of the time. And thus, in a sense, the $13 million valuation is not just about the coin itself but about what it represents. A tangible piece of American history imbued with stories of industry, economy, and even human error, and collectors and investors are drawn not only to the object but also to its story, because every rare coin carries within it an aura of mystery and legend, the idea that it survived against all odds, and if one such coin is ever sold at public auction it would not only command a staggering price but also ignite worldwide media attention, turning it into a cultural phenomenon, and we've seen similar cases in numismatics before, with coins like the 1943 copper penny or the 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle, where their rarity and forbidden histories drove their values into the millions, and the 1993 D penny fits right into this narrative, a humble coin transformed into a legend by scarcity, error, and desire, and the more people talk about it, the more its story spreads, and the higher its perceived value climbs, which is why rumors of its $13 million valuation continue to circulate, inspiring ordinary people to double-check their change and dream of striking it rich, and whether one believes in the precise number or not, what cannot be denied is that the 1993 D1-cent coin represents the possibility of hidden fortune, and it sparks our imagination in a way that transcends simple economics, reminding us that value is as much about story and rarity as it is about metal and minting. So the next time you hold a penny, especially one from 1993 with the Denver mint mark, take a moment to look closer, examine the date, the letters, the portrait, the memorial, because you might just be holding a coin that has the potential to change your life, a coin that history and chance have conspired to make worth far more than its face value, a coin whose legend continues to grow and whose place in numismatic history is already secured. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most fascinating coins in American history and want to keep exploring more stories of hidden treasures, rare errors, and million-dollar pennies, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us on this incredible journey where every coin tells a story and every story holds the possibility of fortune. Next. Today, as we dive into the fascinating and almost unbelievable story of the 2005 1-cent coin, a coin that many people might glance over as just another penny in their pocket change but which, because of a rare set of errors and mistakes, has been valued at a staggering $2.3 million, turning what was supposed to be a simple copper-plated zinc cent into one of the most talked-about pieces of modern numismatic history. And in this journey we're going to peel back every layer of mystery, examining how such an ordinary coin could end up being worth more than a mansion, how the process of minting errors, variations in design, and rare conditions all converged into one extraordinary outcome, and why collectors are willing to spend fortunes on coins that others would casually drop on the sidewalk without a second thought, because when it comes to coin collecting, rarity, condition, and error types create a world of excitement that blends history, technology, and pure chance, and the 2005 1-cent coin is an absolute textbook example of how everything can come together in such a remarkable way that it changes the landscape of modern coin valuation forever. So let's begin by painting the picture of what the US Mint was producing in 2005, a year that saw billions of pennies struck in both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, each featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, the design that had been in circulation since 1959. To mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and by 2005 most collectors and the general public thought of these coins as utterly common, practically valueless beyond their face worth, but hidden among those billions was a handful that contained rare minting errors so significant that they created a sensation among coin enthusiasts and auction houses. And when we talk about errors we have to remember that the minting process, despite being highly mechanized and tightly controlled, is still prone to accidents, and when mistakes happen they can produce doubled dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, planchet flaws, wrong planchet strikes, misaligned dies, and even dramatic design anomalies. And with the 2005 cent what makes it so fascinating is that multiple error categories were observed, which magnified its rarity, with the most famous being dramatic doubled die obverse examples where Lincoln's eye, nose, and inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," appear doubled, creating a ghost-like shadow effect that is instantly visible even without magnification, a type of error that collectors chase aggressively because of its eye appeal and the difficulty of finding pristine examples. And then there are off-center strikes where the die failed to hit the planchet in perfect alignment, producing coins with parts of the design missing and large blank crescents of raw metal showing, which for 2005 pennies sometimes revealed only half of Lincoln's bust or partial memorial columns, creating coins that are technically incomplete but vastly more valuable because of their rarity. And among the most intriguing possibilities were coins struck on wrong planchets, meaning that a penny design was accidentally struck on a coin blank intended for another denomination like a dime, a nickel, or even foreign coinage blanks that occasionally ended up in the presses, And if a 2005 penny was struck on a dime planchet, for example, the result would be a lighter silver colored cent that instantly stands out and commands astronomical prices, and this kind of anomaly is not only possible but has been confirmed for other years, which is why collectors carefully weigh and analyze suspect coins, because a difference in gram weight can mean the difference between 1 cent and 1 million, and when such coins come to light, the auction world reacts with intense excitement, driving bidding wars that push values into millions because wealthy collectors recognize that these are once-in-a-lifetime discoveries. And another fascinating error in 2005 involved misaligned dies where the obverse and reverse designs did not properly line up, causing off-center memorials or shifted Lincoln portraits that make the coin look surreal, almost like a printing error on a postage stamp. And it's not just the types of errors that matter but the condition as well, because the grading scale from poor to mint state determines just how high the value can climb. And when an error coin from 2005 is found in pristine, uncirculated condition with full luster and no significant scratches, its rarity skyrockets since most pennies in circulation suffer years of wear and tear, and this explains why one such coin with an extraordinary set of combined errors in gem condition stunned the collecting world when it was valued at $2.3 million, cementing its place as one of the most valuable modern American cents in existence. And what makes this story even more thrilling is that coins like this are often found by ordinary people in pocket change, coin rolls, or old jars tucked away in attics, so the possibility of stumbling upon a fortune literally lying in your change drawer is what keeps this hobby alive and exciting, because every coin tells a story and every error coin tells a story of human imperfection meeting industrial precision. And when those flaws line up in spectacular fashion, they create treasures. So let's take a closer look at the cultural and collector psychology that makes a 2005 penny worth millions, because at first glance it might seem absurd that a tiny copper-plated coin worth 1 cent could command the same price as a luxury yacht, but in the numismatic world the equation is driven by rarity, demand, and the thrill of owning something unique. And since only a handful of these extraordinary 2005 era cents are known, the laws of supply and demand dictate astronomical valuations, and wealthy collectors, often competing for status and prestige, are willing to pay whatever it takes to secure such a prize, which in turn fuels further interest and publicity, creating a self-reinforcing cycle where each sale sets a new benchmark for value. And the story of the 2005 cent is not just about money but also about history, craftsmanship, and the unpredictable ways in which tiny details can create massive impact. Because every coin is the product of centuries of minting tradition, from hand-engraved dies in the early days to computerized engraving today. Yet the element of chance remains, and it is chance that created this $2.3 million marvel. And we should not forget that there are countless other error varieties from 2005 that, while not reaching multi-million-dollar levels, are still highly collectible, such as minor die cracks that create raised lines across the coin surface, clipped planchets where a curved slice is missing from the edge, or repunched mint marks where the D or P mint mark was accidentally punched twice in slightly different positions. And each of these has a niche audience willing to pay premiums, demonstrating that every level of error has a story to tell, but the ultimate narrative belongs to the one coin that combined rarity, error, condition, and collector frenzy into a perfect storm of value, making the 2005 1 cent not just an oddity but a legend in its own right. And what this teaches us is that coin collecting is never just about face value but about the layers of meaning, history, and craftsmanship imbued in every strike. And so the next time you handle a penny, especially one from 2005, you might pause and wonder whether you're holding nothing more than change or perhaps a hidden fortune. And that thought alone is enough to inspire countless people to join the hunt, because the dream of turning a cent into millions is irresistible. And before we wrap up, remember that stories like these are what make numismatics endlessly fascinating and full of surprises. So if you enjoyed learning about the incredible 2005 1 cent worth $2.3 million and the errors that made it possible, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more amazing discoveries, and stay tuned for future stories where history, luck, and treasure collide. Last, today's fascinating deep dive into the world of coins, treasures, and the hidden gems that lie in plain sight, because today we are going to unravel the story of the 2013 D 1 cent coin, a penny that most people might think is just another ordinary copper-plated zinc coin rolling around in their pocket change. But what if I told you that some specific examples of this coin have been valued at an astonishing $2 million because of their errors and mistakes, and these errors are the very reason collectors, historians, and enthusiasts have become obsessed with this coin, hunting through rolls, jars, and collections with the hope of uncovering one of these elusive rarities. So let's begin by exploring what makes a penny minted in Denver in 2013 so incredibly special, why a coin with a face value of just 1 cent could climb into the millions, and what kind of minting errors, varieties, and oddities contribute to its value, because the world of numismatics is filled with mysteries. discoveries, and surprising fortunes that transform tiny pieces of metal into objects of desire worth more than luxury cars, houses, or even entire estates, and the 2013 D penny is a prime example of how mistakes in the minting process can lead to incredible paydays for those lucky enough to spot them. Now when we think about the 2013 D penny, we need to first understand that millions upon millions of these coins were struck at the Denver Mint, using the standard composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, and the design at that time featured the Union Shield reverse, which had been introduced in 2010, symbolizing the unity of the states and harkening back to the Civil War era, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse continuing a tradition that started in 1909. But despite the massive number of coins produced, only a handful ever leave the mint with striking errors that escape quality control, and these are the coins that become treasures. Some of the key errors attributed to the 2013 D 1-cent coin include double die obverse errors where Lincoln's features, particularly the eye, lips, and date, show dramatic doubling that can be seen even without magnification, creating a ghost-like effect that collectors adore. Other examples include off-center strikes where part of the design is missing because the blank planchet was misaligned when it was struck, and these errors can range from minor off-centers that still show a complete date to dramatic off-centers that make the coin look like a modern art piece. Then there are the broad strikes and partial collar strikes where the coin spreads out wider than normal or fails to retain its rim, giving it a warped, unusual look. These mint mistakes are visually striking and instantly recognizable, but the most sought-after versions of the 2013 D penny include transitional errors, like coins accidentally struck on the wrong planchet such as dime blanks or copper planchets left over from previous eras. These rarities are virtually priceless to collectors because they represent not only a mistake but a historical anomaly that should not exist. Another factor that adds to the value of the 2013 D penny is die deterioration, doubling, die cracks, and die clashes, which create strange lines, patterns, or extra shapes on the coin's surface. Some examples show a ghostly outline of the shield on Lincoln's bust due to die clash, while others have cracks that look like raised veins across the coin, making each piece unique and appealing to error collectors. Now what makes one of these pennies jump all the way up to a valuation of $2 million is a combination of extreme rarity, high demand, and often a fascinating backstory. Imagine finding a 2013 D penny struck on a 95% copper planchet left over from 1982. Not only would it be rare, it would be nearly one of a kind and thus command astronomical prices at auction. Similarly, a penny with dramatic doubling visible on the motto "I and God We Trust" or the word liberty could instantly ignite bidding wars among collectors, and history has shown time and again that collectors are willing to pay outrageous sums for coins that defy the odds of production. The thrill of owning something so unusual, so rare, and so historically significant is what drives these prices sky high, and with the 2013 D penny, these mistakes have cemented its status as one of the modern marvels of minting errors. But to truly understand the value, we need to dig deeper into the psychology of collectors. For numismatists, owning a rare error coin is not just about the monetary value, it's about holding a piece of history, a mistake that slipped past government machinery, a tangible artifact that represents both human and mechanical error. And when you combine this with the relatively recent year of 2013, it's mind-blowing that something minted so recently could already have legendary status in the coin community. Now let's imagine the possibilities. Because one of the most exciting parts of this story is that the 2013 D penny is still young enough that millions of them are still in circulation, sitting unnoticed in jars, piggy banks, cash registers, and pockets all across the country, and that means there's always a chance that an unsuspecting person could stumble upon one of these multi-million-dollar coins without even realizing it, perhaps in spare change from a grocery store or tucked into a drawer that hasn't been cleaned in years. The possibilities of finding one keep collectors constantly searching, and that endless chase is part of the coin's allure. But it's not just about luck. Serious collectors and treasure hunters study these errors meticulously, memorizing what to look for, training their eyes to catch the subtle signs of doubling, clashes, or unusual weight that could indicate a wrong planchet. And this dedication creates a passionate community that keeps stories like the 2013 D penny alive and thriving. Auction houses have reported incredible results when examples of modern error coins appear on the block, with bidding wars driving prices far beyond initial estimates. And this reinforces the idea that error coins are not just collectibles, they are investments, assets that can appreciate over time. And that's why when a 2013 D penny surfaces with a rare error, it can suddenly leap in value, setting records and shocking even seasoned experts. And the fascination only grows. Collectors are drawn to the mystery, the rarity, and the thrill of owning something so unusual, while everyday people dream of striking it rich with something as ordinary as a penny. And this blend of excitement, rarity, and history is why the story of the 2013 D1 cent coin has captured imaginations across the world. So if you ever come across a penny from 2013 with a Denver mint mark, take a closer look, study it carefully, and you might just be holding a coin worth $2 million, because the truth is, mistakes make history, and in the world of numismatics, they also make millionaires. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this journey into the fascinating world of the 2013 D penny, its errors, its mistakes, and its extraordinary possibilities. And if you love this exploration of hidden treasures and want to keep discovering more stories of coins worth big money, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content.